Hi, you guys, and welcome back to the channel, Angels in the Library. On tonight's episode, I want to cover um, who the source is. And this is kind of like who the creator is part two. So make sure you go watch that video before we get into this. Because essentially, I watched that video and I realized I didn't really do a good job breaking down the source energy. If you're familiar with Abraham Hicks talks about the source. And I think it's a really important aspect to have a full video on, even though it's going to be a short video, hopefully. We do not have Drika tonight. So let's give a shout out to Drake, even though she's not here. So let's get into it. So essentially, when we talk about who the creator is, we know that the creator is a whole being that separated itself into different forms to expand. So the creator separated itself from itself to create more with itself. And when the creator separated itself into these separate forms of Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel, it there became a separation between the vessel, like a vessel would be Michael, and the source, which is the energy field that is, utilizing these vessels as an expression of itself. Okay. And it's really important to understand that there's a difference here, that the creator has five aspects in total. And if you know anything about numerology, you know that five means change. And so if the creator has five aspects in total, that means God is change. The creator is change. That's why everything is up to change. And if you're really spiritual, you know about the book of change. It's like a Chinese book. It's a really good one in terms of like fortune telling, but that's neither here nor there. But essentially, it's important to know that it is the number five. But when we talk about source is the energy aspect of the creator. And we talk about manifestation, how everything's created, everything's being created through source. So, source is the aspect of the creator that's governing all things. So, a good way to understand this, like let's think about like a comedian like Eddie Murphy, right? Let's understand the vessel versus source this way. So we know he like in one of his big movies he played like five characters, right? So we know that he's the one that's energetically operating all these vessels. But there's a difference between Eddie Murphy's energy and those characters. Now obviously Eddie Murphy still exists and it's not exactly the same thing. I'm using this as an example. But what I'm trying to get at is that like those characters can't exist without Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy and those characters are one and the same person. Those are just expressions of Eddie Murphy expressing himself. So the same thing of our source. Now the difference between our source and Eddie Murphy is that our source can power up every being at once and actually wants to. We down here just don't know how to allow the source to be able to do what it does best, which is use us as vessels, because the big part of who is the creator, who is God, or who is that, it's us. We are the creator. We are God. And essentially, when we can be in pure alignment, we can channel source because we are a vessel of the source. We're a vessel on a vessel. So the whole thing is, it's us. Ta da. And you're going to be like, oh, can't be us. We're not perfect. Well, surprise, surprise. Essentially, now, like I said, there is a difference in the rank between a Jesus, a Michael, a Raphael, and a Uriel, and other beings, right? That's why there's even ranks in heaven, and the ranks go down and down. So I want you guys to know that there is a difference in rank, but we are still vessels that if we become true, honest, and authentic and sovereign, we can channel the source and we can be an authentic piece of the creator. Now that's the difference, is that down here everybody's in lower nature, so they're not everybody, or people rarely can become a pure piece of the creator. But not everybody, but angels do, demons don't anymore have that ability, and other beings that aren't fallen have that ability to become pure, true pieces of the creator. So when you want to understand source, because people go like, oh, when you talk to the the creator in heaven, essentially, when you talk about talking to God, you would be talking to one of those vessels because the source needs a vessel. Like I was saying, the only difference between like Eddie Murphy and those characters is you're going to talk to Eddie Murphy versus source, you're going to talk to those other beings. You're going to talk to Michael, Raphael, Uriel, or Gabriel. That makes sense? Like you're not the source now exists with outside of a vessel as an energy source. So if you want to communicate with the source, even in heaven, you're going to talk to Jesus, talk to Michael, talk to Raphael, Uriel, or some of the other archangels up there. But essentially, that is a very important piece of information to know because um if the source is operating all these beings and all these beings these beings are aspects of the source and all these aspects are having different realities and different experiences, that means at a certain point things can get lost because I don't know what uh Archangel Jophiel's up to right now, right? But source does. But guess what? Source isn't somebody I can go talk to. Source is something I can channel. You understand? So let's like go talk to Jophiel. And this is how things get over time get creates confusion because there's a separation there. And source is the only aspect of the creator that knows all things. But source isn't a being you can directly speak to. So now you get why it's a lot of issues we've had throughout the eons. But we're solving that now. And I'll explain um things more down the line. I'm just trying to give you guys preliminary basic understanding because my goal more than anything is for you guys to clearly get the message, right? Angels are just messengers. So essentially, the source is the energetic operant power of the universe that channels itself through aspects of itself that are vessels. So we have the thought forms and we have the feeling state of the creator. The thought forms of the creator are the vessels, the Michaels, the Raphaels, the Uriels, and the Gabriels, and the feeling aspect is the source. So I hope that helps. And as we get into manifestation, we want to start learning how we can channel the source, right? Because I know that like down here people teach you can manifest anything you want. You can't. And not to burst anybody's manifestational bubble. I always want you to be in the highest flying vibration that you could ever be in. But when I say you can't manifest anything you want, the reason why I say that is because the only things we're supposed to be manifesting are things that are true, honest, and real. And that's why you can even manifest something and you won't even enjoy it after you get it because it wasn't real anyways. And we're going to get to that down the line, but the point of the matter is that we want to maintain a pure relationship with the energy of source cuz that is an aspect of all of us. We were all birthed through source. So we have to maintain that pure energetic relationship that we have, each of us has as an aspect of the creator. We have to relearn down here how to get back into alignment with source so that we can create, you know, as source, meaning we can bring heaven on earth. And that is the mission, is to get back into full alignment to become a whole piece, a whole authentic, real piece of the creator back on earth and go back to heaven. And we're going to cover all of that. So, yeah, the source is separate from the vessels, but it's the part of the being that operates the vessels, the energy aspect. And this is just really going to be important. So when we get to manifestation and things like that, this would be a good video to watch so you can understand like, okay, that's the basis of source and we're the vessels and we need to be in alignment with the source. So source can use us as a vessel, which would mean we're the creator. Because if the source gets to use us, then we're a perfect piece of the creator on earth. And that's how you've seen certain people walk on earth and they even feel like the creator because they're perfect pieces, because they're perfectly channeling the source. And that's what we want to do. So I love you guys. Hope this helps. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Dreek, even though she's not here. And thank you so much for watching Angels in the Library.